Guys, I have cracked the code. I have cracked the code has been I have a degree in encryption. I don't think you're hearing me. Come closer. Okay, back up a little bit. I've cracked. Just a quick heads up, you're going to see some timestamps on screen on screen. You're going to see some timestamps on screen right now, and you'll also see like some sections and chapters in the YouTube description and on the YouTube progress bar, just in case you wanted to jump to the tutorial or if you wanted to jump to the free overlay pack that I'm going to mention at the end. That's just so that you can click through and stuff. So do y'all remember when I said this in my last video?
Just to figure out that the issue is Instagram has made it mathematically impossible to make a banner.
Well, after years and hours of number crunching and mathematics, I have finally found a solution. Now let me tell you, this whole thing is way more complicated than it needs to be, but I have devised a foolproof method just for you guys. So if you're a brand manager, content creator, or social media influencer that wants to make seamless 3-post banners that actually conform to Instagram's new rectangular grids, you're in the right place. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Joe Davis. I am a musician, multi-instrumentalist, photographer, videographer, and social media content creator. Now, Instagram recently came out with an update that made the square grids on our profile feeds rectangles. Don't get me started. I did a whole video on that, check the card, but it was a mess. Now the biggest problem with this is the aspect ratios, but to explain all of that is better if you just watch the video that I did, because I explained the whole thing in depth in that video, so I'd recommend you check it out before you watch this one. Basically what I was saying in the video is that Instagram's new grids have a 3:4 aspect ratio, but the narrowest that you can upload to Instagram is a 4:5 aspect ratio. So if you try to upload a 3:4 image to Instagram, it's basically going to crop it down to 4:5 just to be able to upload it, and then when you look at it on the grid, it's going to crop down further to 3:4. So you end up with something that starts out like this but looks like this. But wait, it gets worse. You know those seamless 3-post banners that everybody was doing all over the place back when Instagram was like a square? Basically all you had to do was create like a 3:1 rectangle and then just splice them into 3 different thirds and then just upload each third to Instagram so that it would be one seamless thing across the whole thing. And so carrying that logic over to make a seamless 3:4 grid, you would just make a 9:4 aspect ratio rectangle and then just slice that into thirds. But wait, you can't upload 3:4 images to Instagram. I want to jump off a little. So what ends up happening is you try to post something that looks like this, but it ends up looking like this. But do not panic, because as I said, I have cracked I have cracked. Quick heads up, this is a video that is going to be discussing how to do this in Photoshop. So if you don't have Photoshop or a Creative Cloud subscription, then don't fear, because I am coming out with a video in the next couple of days that is going to go over how to do this with an online free Photoshop alternative. And if you're watching this after the week of February 1st, then I'm going to put a link in the card to see that video as well. So what you're going to need is Adobe Photoshop, obviously. I'm using Photoshop 2025, and you're going to need the Photoshop banner pack, which is available at store.joedavisarts.com. And even if you decide to do this on another software, you're still going to need the Photoshop banner pack. So the link is on screen right now and it's in the description as well. Once you have them ready, come back to this video and we can get started. So step 1 is to create your banner. Regardless of which software you're using, whether it's Photoshop, Affinity, Photopea, GIMP, Microsoft Paint, Windows Live Movie Maker, you're going to need to set your canvas to have an aspect ratio of 23:10. This is extremely important. You can really use any resolution in that aspect ratio that you want to. I would suggest going higher resolution because it gives you a better quality image. So something like 6210 by 2700. But if you're trying to save space on your computer, then the lowest that you can go without Instagram degrading your quality is 3105 by 1350. Keep in mind when you're creating this banner that there is going to be a little bit of clipping on both the left and the right hand side. And to know exactly how much clipping that there is, navigate to the banner creation overlay folder in the Photoshop banner pack, drag any of the overlay PNG files into your project, and you'll get a clear visual guide. So once you've finished your banner, we can now split up the banner. So when you download the Photoshop banner pack folder, you're going to see 5 different files inside of here. So first step is to navigate to Photoshop files and navigate to 12:5. It's supposed to be 12:5, but you can't save colons in file names, unfortunately. But you open 12:5 and inside you're going to find 3 different Photoshop files. This is just an example of how it's going to look in the end, but this is these are the 3 files that we're going to be working with. So I'm actually going to switch to list view here just so that you can see it better. They're all at different resolutions, just in case you had made a banner that was like absolutely massive and you have like 8K Ultra HD. But yeah, so choose the file that works best for you and then open the file in Photoshop. Now, if you look inside the project's layer tab, you're going to see an alternate hue layer, which means if your picture doesn't contrast enough with the overlay, you can enable it to change the color. And so this is what that looks like. So it changes it from red and blue to neon, aqua-ish, and orange. But then the important part of it is you'll see a 4:5 grid and a 3:4 grid, because remember, Instagram crops 4:5 down to 3:4. If I were to just hide the 4:5 grid layer, that's the red one, and the 3:4 grid layer is the blue one. And then if you look onto the actual canvas itself, you'll see these yellow lines going down. I don't know if they'll be yellow for you, but they're yellow for me. And these are guides. Now, if you don't see these guides, then go to View, Show, and make sure that guides are selected. And if they are selected, then check the README file in the main download folder, which is here, and that will basically like run you through like what you need to do, and that's where the actions folder comes in, but you wouldn't need that if you're seeing the guides. These are the guides that we're going to be using. Next step, turn on snap, which is going to allow you to, like, if you notice, like if I were to just like select a random selection, as soon as you see my cursor goes close to the yellow guide, it immediately snaps to it. Now that is going to be a massive part of what's going to enable this to work. So if you don't have snap enabled, and if you make a selection and it's not snapping to the guide, then go to View and go Snap and make sure Snap is selected. And if it still doesn't work, then make sure that guides are selected. And if that still doesn't work, then shoot me an email, because then something is wrong with your application. Now what you're going to do is import your 23:10 banner into this project. And quite literally, all you have to do is drag it in. So you have Finder or Windows File Explorer that's like over Photoshop because it's open. You literally click, drag, and release, and it is all of a sudden in. What you're going to want to make sure that you do is scale the image so that it snaps to the top of the canvas, the bottom of the canvas, and the left of the canvas. So we're going to drag it over here, and you notice it's not like smoothly dragging, it's because it's snapping everywhere. So make sure it's centered. So you see that pink line that's going through the middle of it, and make sure it's aligned to the left of the canvas. Now you are going to see some white space, but that's normal. You don't need to worry about that. That's completely normal. We're going to get to that in a second. So click enter, and then what you're going to do is you're going to move this layer underneath the overlay layers, right? So it's going to be right above the background there. And then you should be able to see all of your guides and all of your overlays over the banner. We're going to make sure that the rectangular marquee tool is selected. We're going to go right off of the canvas to the top right of the image. So make sure that you're not like on the canvas at all. Make sure it's off completely into the dark area. And we're going to click and drag until we hit this guide right here. There aren't like names for the guides, but if you look at the screen right now, you'll see which guide I'm on. This is the guide that we're going to make sure we're selecting up to, and then release. So we have now made a selection. We're going to press Command J if you're on a Mac, or Control J if you're on a Windows computer, and what that's going to do is it's going to make that selection into a layer by itself. So if you look down here, you'll see that this is layer 1. That is the selection that we just made. So if I hide the full banner, that is a layer by itself. So from here, you're going to press Command T, which is going to enable you to transform the layer, and you're going to move the layer so that its left edge aligns with the left edge of the center 4-5 rectangle. So that may not have made sense verbally, but essentially all I'm saying to do, you notice how this is where the edge of the selection is. We're trying to move it so that, and it's actually going to be easier if I just hide everything. We want to move it so that it's aligned with the left of the center rectangle. So this red line right here is where we're trying to align it to. So if I show everything again, I make sure layer 1 is selected, Command or Control T, and we align it so that the left of the selection is aligned with the left of the center rectangle. And then we hit enter again. Now, this has caused some foolishness, but don't worry about that. We're just don't. And then we're going to repeat the process again. So make sure it's out here, but we're not going to go all the way over to this guide anymore. We're going to go to this guide right here, and we're going to make sure that that's selected. Command J, Command T, and we're going to make sure that the left of this selection is now aligned with the left of the rightmost rectangle, which is right here. Make sure it's centered, and then hit enter, and you're done. That's literally that is it. It is complete. It is finished. That is all you had to do. Now, it does look a little jagged and stuff, but trust me, this is how it is supposed to look. So now it's time to export your modified banner, but we don't want to have all of the red and blue guides on top of it. So we're going to hide the overlay layers. And that's just hiding the folder that is called overlay. And then we're going to hit Shift Command Option W, or on Windows Shift Control Alt W, which is going to bring up the export window. Now we're going to make sure that the format is a JPEG. We're going to set the quality to be the highest that it can be, and then the image size is going to be different depending on which Photoshop file you opened, but I opened the smallest one because I'm trying to not kill my computer. But yeah, select the quality to be the highest, and then you can export and select the destination you want it to be exported to. And I want to export it to my video assets folder, right? So that has now been exported. So now obviously we can't upload this as is. We're going to navigate back to the Photoshop files folder, and we're going to open the 4 to 5. Now, depending on which quality you decided to make and export your banner as, you're going to click on the respective project. And because I exported mine at 1350, I'm going to open that project. And now this is just a blank. It's just a blank. It's just blank. So what you're going to do, you're going to import your jagged banner into this project, and you're going to see that it has now like conformed to the scale of what the 4 to 5 rectangle is, but we don't want that. So what we're going to do, we're going to scale it so that the top of the banner and the bottom of the banner are touching the top and the bottom of the 4 by 5 rectangle. After you've imported it, it's going to still be transform enabled, and if it's not transform enabled, all you have to do is click Command or Control T. Then we're going to hit Option, and we're going to drag this so that the top is touching the top, and we're going to click Enter. Now this is what the middle panel would look like, but we're going to get the left panel first. So we're going to hit Command T again, and we're going to align it so that the leftmost edge is aligned with the edge of the canvas, and then we're going to click Enter, and there we have it. We're going to export this as a JPEG image, same settings as before, quality highest, format JPEG, and export. And we're going to export it as post number 3 because this is the third post that's going to be posted on Instagram, because it's going to be the furthest over to the left. Then we're going to repeat the process but align it so that the middle of the picture is in the middle of the canvas, and you're going to see that there's a cross that appears in the middle. And then we're going to export this and call it number 2. And finally, we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side and align the right of the banner with the right of the canvas. Export that again and export it as number 1. And there we have it. That is literally it. So send it to your phone and you can upload those 3 images to Instagram, and it should be seamless and professional. Now remember what I said earlier about there being a free download/overlay that you can cop at my website? Well, if you're a brand manager or a social media content creator or influencer and you want to create a post with that crop in mind, but you don't know how much crop it's going to be, I've created an overlay pack that I am selling for the affordable price of nothing. It is absolutely free. You can cop it at my website, store.joedavisarts.com. Cop it now before stocks, well, it's a digital product, so stock isn't going to run out, but that's besides the point. So here's how it works. You start with the canvas on any software of your choice that's 4 to 5, and then you just drag any of the overlays over it so that you can see how much negative space that you need to consider when making your post. Included in the pack are a rectangle overlay that shows how it crops down from 4 to 5 down to 3 to 4, a slimmer rectangle for those specific needs, colored safe zones and unsafe zones to visually indicate the work area that you're working with, and labels for added clarity. You can go low resolution, decent resolution, great resolution, and ridiculous resolution for those whose computers are beasts. And the best part about it is the fact that it's a PNG pack. So literally you can use it with any software at all. Windows Live Movie Maker gang, rise up. Now, I use Photoshop, and I know a lot of other people use Photoshop as well, so to make life easier for all of you guys, I've included 4 Photoshop files that have the overlays already set up in the layers of the project. These 4 Photoshop canvases are available in the same 4 resolutions mentioned above. Yes, this is loads of value, and yes, once again, this is free. You spend literally all of $0 and 0 centigrade. Head on down to store.joedavisarts.com to copy your free 4 to 5 to 3 to 4 overlay pack, and you'll be able to make content without any worries at all. So yeah, that's how you do it. You can find all the information in the description, the links in the description, everything is in the description. If you have any troubles with any of the products, please reach out to me at contact@joedavisarts.com. If you found this information helpful, please do leave a like. If you didn't, then leave a dislike and let me know why in the comment section down below. Sub to the channel if you want to see more informative content like this. I am still a musician, I promise. I I still make music, I promise. But yeah, check out the video on the left if you haven't already seen my video that went into the depths of how the Instagram thing happened and why it's annoying. And when I upload the tutorial video for the Photoshop alternative, that's going to be on the right. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate your time. Take care, stay safe, stay sanitized, and that's the vibe.